Recording should start. All right, welcome everybody to the Homemade Camera Podcast's Unconventional Camera Convention. Might have some people rolling in and out during this time, but we're going to take a look at some cameras. Let's start off with Peter, because you're in Australia. Peter, how do you say your last name?
Maarseveen.
Maarseveen. Okay.
Yeah.
What you got for us? Tell us a little bit about yourself first, and how you got into camera building, and then show us some cameras.
Cool. Everyone can hear me all right?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm down in Tasmania, Australia. So the bottom right, as far south as you can get in Australia. I've been to building cameras probably about 10 years now, I think. So I went to art school down here and graduated in 2011, I think it was. And I majored in photography, and actually my major was I was building cameras, which, hold on. So this was one of my graduating cameras. I'm a pinhole photographer, basically. So this was, one of my little first cameras that I've built. I built it and actually built it with my friend's kids. I was playing with their Lego and ended up building a camera. So it was a bit of fun. And so ever since then, I work at the landfill, so I salvage off the landfill for the company I work for, and we sell everything we salvage. And so I find random, unusual objects on the landfill and turn them into cameras. Is basically it. So I've got a few cameras here with me, so I may as well show you. I may as well start with this one. The most simplest, as most pinhole photographers know, you just need a box. So this is basically, the pinhole is, hopefully you can see it. You open up the little front window, so that's the shutter. It's basically just a little there. It's got winding mechanisms on the top, so take the roof off. And take the top of the roof off. Oh. Going on.
There we go.
All good. So it's a 35mm pinhole camera. Now, see if I can actually, how do I share images on this? I never actually used this one before.
If you go to the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, if you hover over, you should have a Present Now feature on your screen.
The keys. Let's see if this will work. That's not working, is it? Oh, there we go. Oh, whoops. Okay. So hopefully, can anyone see what I'm doing yet, or not really?
Yep.
So these, there we go. Can you see that?
I see your folder.
Yep. Oh, you can't see them. Okay. Maybe if I open this one up.
You may be sharing an application window rather than sharing the entire screen.
Okay.
You might want to stop presenting and start presenting again, but choose the entire desktop, and then.
I gotcha. Easy. All right. Now let's try that again. Okay. So share entire screen. And so if now can you still see it? Or
Yep. Now we can see your full screen. Cool.
Okay. So this is one of the images out of that. Where is it? Here. So this is one of the images out of my Lego camera. I basically did a series of these ones where I went to playgrounds and basically took, because it was about kids playing with Lego, I took images of Lego in the playground. So it was a bit of sort of fun. Just sort of, yeah, having a bit of fun with it, playing around. So yeah, like each of my cameras have different stories about different sort of ideas of what I'm doing and depending on the actual camera itself is depending on sort of what series I make. So another one is this one here.
Wait, Peter, if you're gonna hold one up, stop sharing or stop presenting so that we can
okay.
see you.
Sorry about that. I haven't used this one before, so yeah, here's another camera. So it is a book. This one here, basically to take the photo, you open up the front cover, and there's the camera. There's the pinhole itself. So, and then inside here, there's actually, I don't have a screwdriver at the moment to undo it, but there's actually 35mm canister sits here, another one down here, so it sort of runs the film plane sort of behind that. And to actually wind the film on, you've got a key. So the keys, let's see if you can see it there. The key sits just in there, and that winds the film on. Now, the series I did with this one, I'll start presenting again and I'll show you that.
Hey, I'm going to jump in for a second.
Yep.
If anybody's got questions as we're going along, Peter, if you don't mind, I think
no.
Let's just jump in rather than doing presentation and Q&A. We're a small enough group. I think it's good. And with that, I have a question. Is there a box inside that book, or did you just glue the pages into a box?
I glued the pages. That's it. I glued the pages, so they are now two separate sections, which sort of open up, and then you can sort of put the film canisters inside to sort of hold it shut, and that's enough for it to work. Sorry, I'm sort of rushing through them all. I've got a couple, then I'll get to the other ones I'm doing now. So I'm trying to get through a few as I go. So with this one here, I sort of wanted to sort of think about how many people had sort of had a look through this book over its lifetime, because there's an inscription in the side of it from 1928 as a Christmas present. And so I thought, how many people have sort of really read this book and looked at it? So I wanted to give the book a voice to be able to look back at everything. And so I did a series of portraits. Now, let's see if I can show you these ones. Where is it? There it is. So these, I got people to hold the book in their favorite place to read a book and basically take a self-portrait with the book, and then I took a photo, as you can see on the right-hand side, of that favorite place. So yeah, sort of bit of a sort of roundabout way to get the camera to look back at everything and the book to look back at everyone as we're going through it. Any questions or anything, or just keep going?
Keep going.
I like that a lot.
Oh wait, I have one quick question. What's the name of the book that you use to make?
The Mystery of the Sphinx.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw that on your website. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It just sort of, I don't actually think I read the book, unfortunately, before I glued it together. I just random things I sort of found and go, oh yeah, this would do.
So it will stay a mystery.
Yeah, pretty much.
Peter, are you shadows and projections or headless mind?
Both.
Okay.
Hey, real quick for the YouTube viewers at home, all dozen of them, what is your website, Peter, or where can people find it?
My website is headlessmind.com. So that's the easiest way to find me. Or shadows _ projections on Instagram is the easiest one.
Okay,
You
so
can
all along.
Yeah.
I'll keep track of these things.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. I'll show you the next camera as we go on. I'll bring the whole thing over. Sorry. I have to try and...
I'm really curious about what this giant thing in the background is.
That's a 20 by 24 inch.
Yes.
I'll show in a little while.
That's the teaser.
Yeah. So this is my next pinhole camera. I'll show you now.
Okay, you're supposed to keep the light out, not
exactly. Like so this one's a special one for me because was it 2013? My partner and I spent 3 months on a tiny little island off the bottom of Tasmania, which is home to the Australia's southernmost lighthouse. Now, there was 4 people on the island. That's all. There's like 3 houses and a lighthouse on the island, and 800,000 birds, and that's literally it. And so we spent 3 months on the island on an arts residency, basically just making art, having fun, just doing whatever the hell we wanted to do. So this was my little homage to the actual lighthouse itself. So it's a fully working pinhole camera. It's a 360-degree one, so it's got 4 pinholes going around the top in the top windows. And I'll show you when I take it off. There we go. So hopefully you can see it. So 2 canisters sit inside, and there's a little slit just here where the film wraps around the outside, and it's just got a very simple little shutter mechanism which goes up and down. And so that then sort of sits on top, and there's little wires that come out of here which you just pull up and down to take the photos. So this is all, it's all built out of cans. So all the food and things we ate while we were on the island, I've slowly built the camera over the time using all the cans. So there's tomato cans, baked bean cans, milk cartons, other random bits and pieces I found on the island. So I'll show you some images of that, if I can, from what this is actually. Let's see if I can show you. Oh, here we go. So this, can you see that now? Yep. So that's the lighthouse there. So it was built in 1891. So it's sort of just, I found the actual blueprints of the actual lighthouse itself and used that, and yeah, so made a replica, to scale model replica of it. So if you think of this as Australia, Tasmania's down the bottom, and Maarseveen Island is right down the bottom, down here. So a tiny, tiny little island right down the bottom. And the images I got out of this one, this one's probably the better one. Here we go. Wow. So that is actually from where the actual light sits inside the lighthouse. So it's a 360-degree view of all the prisms on the inside of the lighthouse there.
So that's a little bit meta, taking a picture of a lighthouse with a light in the lighthouse.
Exactly. It's a bit of fun, you know. And so yeah, so it's sort of, if you're here, you can sort of see it really splits it into the 4 images itself, but sort of that is a 360-degree view of the island itself. So you can see the houses we were staying in just here. And this one, where is it there? That one there. So this is sort of the old railway they had to, so the island is stupidly steep. So that's the island itself there.
Wow.
So the mainland of Tasmania is way back here, but then there's the lighthouse I was living in, the house just up here, And so basically there's a track that goes from this end to that end, and that is it. So there's not much really sort of you can do on it.
Yeah. What were you doing there? What was your reason?
Making art.
Yes.
We were just making art. We got a government funded residency to go down there. We had to be helicoptered in and helicoptered out. Had to take everything we needed for 3 months. We couldn't sort of get off the island at all. And yeah, so we sort of just spent 3 months down there just making art, and that is it.
Sounds a lot like Albuquerque under quarantine to me.
Yeah, it's been sort of like that lately.
Probably not as hot, but yes.
Yeah. So yeah, so that was a bit of a eye opener for me to be able to sort of do what I want to do and be able to make it. Yeah, so that's most of the. I mean, I've got a couple of other pinhole cameras.
Speaking of eye openers, you showed us earlier. I would really like to see in depth some more.
Well, this one I haven't actually started using yet, really. So this is another stereoscopic pinhole one, which I wanted to give an object eyes again. So basically, you take its eyes out to take the photo. So I've got the 2 pinholes in there as a stereoscopic. You take its top of its head off and its brains, where the sort of film canisters. There'll be 2 film canisters sitting back here, with the film plane running along here. So I still need to fix it up. It's pretty dodgy and not quite light proof. But yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to do with this one yet, but it's just one of those fun ideas to make. But yeah, so I've been making sort of having fun with that, but I haven't really done much pinhole stuff lately. I've been sort of using the beast behind me, which I suppose I'll go show you guys now. Sorry, just trying to bring it all around.
You need a wider webcam for this camera.
Yeah, so this is my 20 by 24 inch.
By the way, I think we should have a challenge of the biggest camera that shows. So right now the bar is set pretty high.
Yeah, so it's a heavy bastard of a thing, as you can see. Oops, all good. I'm just throwing things around. Yeah, so it's got a big 14-inch processing lens on it, which works really nicely. Put this. It's easier to turn around and show everyone. And it's like this. Fold it up again. So at the back, it's basically, I found the bellows on the landfill. It was just one out of a big processing camera, and same with the repro stand. Everything is basically out of the landfill. All my stuff is out of the landfill. And where it is, there it is. So I've been Peter,
I'm looking for a 4x10 bellows. So when you find that,
I actually think I might actually have a couple lying around. Yeah, so then they're just the dark sliders, just enlarged normal dark slide for 20 by 24 inch. Now I'll try and figure out if I can show you what comes out of this. Just bear with me for a minute while I.
Hey, while you're. Sorry, I think I stepped on you.
You there? Yeah.
Zendaya, try that again. I stepped on your audio.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm wondering if you're shooting paper or film or plates or.
Shooting paper mainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got given a big box of old graphic arts film. So it's actually proper negative film. So it's 20 by 24 inch graphic arts film, and it works amazingly. Yeah, so it's going pretty well, like with that. So if I can try and, so I'm just trying to figure out how to get my Instagram up to show everyone what's.
So while you're doing that, I have a couple questions too. It looks like you did some really excellent joinery on that camera. Is that all router dovetails, or is that laser cut?
Actually, I designed it all at the art school. So I went back to art school last year to do my honours year, and I actually designed it all in CAD and then got it routed out and CNC'd it out. So it works. The joins are perfect, spot on, tight. So it works really well. Okay. Oh, here we go.
And you said you put a 14-inch process lens on there. Does that cover the whole? I mean, we're about to see, but
like for macro close-up stuff, it covers everything. For if you're doing sort of portraiture, if you're doing sort of landscape stuff, it does vinaigrette quite a bit. So I'll show you that now. Okay. All right. Can you see all this?
Nope. Yep.
Yep. Okay. So here we go. So last year so these are some of the negatives out of the camera itself. So that's straight paper negative there. Oh, no, that's the graphic arts film, sorry. So you can sort of see, it comes up beautifully. The details in it are pretty amazing in there. Here we go. This one's a bit better. So you can sort of see I was just taking photos of plants to sort of really see how it goes. So these are paper ones. And yeah, the details of that lens, it's super, super sharp, but like it's f8, which for that lens, it's, crazily, like the focus is so fine, you can't really see much of it. But I actually set up, so this is me actually working. So that in the black here is actually the camera. So I actually went out to the forest and actually set up a dark room out in the forest itself and used the camera out there and developed everything at night out in the forest. So this is me developing everything at night out in there. So yeah, sort of just with a red head torch, just with a big 20 by 24 inch trays, just out in the forest at night time. It was pretty amazing to do, and they came out beautifully. And so this is for my honours project. So a big exhibition I had set up. So I did some lumen prints as well as the negatives of the 20 by 24 inch. And yeah, I just left them as negatives to sort of seem to work better than the positives.
Can I ask, it looks like you were displaying lumen prints. Were those scans and prints, or did you fix them?
Some of them were fixed, some of them weren't. So these ones were fixed, these ones are unfixed. So they were just on the there was no digital alteration or anything with any of them. So all the lumen prints are sort of, I did quite a few sort of lumen prints of the plants and things as well while I was there. And so after I did that exhibition, I took the camera back out into the forest and really sort of played around with actually taking some portraits in the forest to try to sort of see how they would come out. And they came out beautifully. So as you can see here, it does vinaigrette quite a bit, but the detail in them is amazing from the sort of, the paper negs. So these were just scanned sort of positives. So I didn't sort of really get to, do that sort of make contact prints or anything with them yet. But they've come out pretty well for how big is some of have to work on the focusing a little bit. And because the ISO of the paper was like quite about 5 seconds exposure, I think, in the end. So yeah.
And
but then recently, oh sorry, you go.
How are you focusing it? Did you make a ground glass for the camera, or?
Yeah. So the focusing I made, I just basically got a bit of perspex and got some frosting, window frosting, sort of clear adhesive to put on the perspex as a ground glass back, and it worked really, really well. And so, sorry, still quickly moving on again. I've got an exhibition on at the moment down here that I use the 20 by 24 inch for, and I use the graphic arts film, and have just taken, because of isolation, I got sort of stuck at home, couldn't really get anywhere, and so yeah, so using my garden as a subject with the 20 by 24 inch. So I just took that out to the backyard and took a few photos of the plants, basically. And so yeah, over isolation, I sort of I built myself for just a crappy little dark room in the back of my shed. It's 1 meter by 2 meters high. So what's that? 3 foot by 6 foot. Yeah, basically. So yeah, I could basically put 3 20 by 24 inch trays and an enlarger in there, and that's it. And then I can stand in there, and that's probably about it. But yeah, so it worked really well.
Is that graphic arts film orthochromatic?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you can do it all under dark light in the trays, and you're
which makes it quite easy.
Yeah,
to do that way. So.
X-ray film.
Yeah, yeah. But it works really well. Like it's because like it's nice being able to use it as a sort of under the safe light, so I don't have to sort of really worry too much about that and actually see what I'm doing.
Yeah, I assume that's going to run out what you have. Is there? Do you have a supply coming? Anything that?
I've got a box of about probably about 50 shots left.
Okay.
So I've got a little while to go, but yeah, once that's gone, then that's.
You can always get 8 by 10 portrait and tape it together, right?
Yeah.
You can also make your own, though. You can make plates, or you can treat paper with photosensitive chemicals. There's all kinds of ways to make big images. You don't have to find your film in the tip.
No, well, that's actually where I found most of my film these days. Anyway, no, I'm looking into getting some like liquid light and things, and sort of just having a play with papers and different stuff. So, and I'm in talks with a ceramicist friend about doing a little residency in their studio and building a camera, and then using liquid light on ceramic plates as the sort of film plate itself. So yeah, I think that's pretty much for that camera. And yeah, so one last camera that I'm sort of working on at the moment, which you may have seen bits of, is this beast of a heavy brass.
Oh yes.
Stupidly ornate thing. It's actually coming along pretty well. I've got sort of the lens and everything, and sort of got Graflex back on the back, Graflock back, so I can easily do 4x5 and then a nice 5x7 coverage lens. What is it? It's a 165 mil, so I should be easily be able to cover the 4x5. But I'm sort of in the process of making that, but it's a bit harder to make everything when I sort of have to find all the little random bits and pieces at work and on the landfill. So find the bits as I go. But yeah, so I think that's pretty much all my cameras.
Those are fantastic.
I like them. Thank you very much, Peter.
That's all good.